This episode is brought to you by our good friends at NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. I'm sure by now you've all gotten back into your Sunday routines, but they could be even better. With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get the most live NFL games all in one place, every game, every Sunday. And you can even watch up to 4 different games at once with multi-view, one of my favorite inventions of this decade. It's exactly what you need to catch all the action, make your Sundays more magical, and also YouTube TV is great. I got it this year. It's awesome. Sign up now at youtube.com/BS. Device and content restrictions apply. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games.
WTL. It's time! WTL.
I think we got a show. Oh, yeah, we got a show.
WTL.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen, joined by
JaBron.
The Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
And you heard a little bit of secondary laughter there.
Yeah.
We got him back. Jeremy Odem.
Yes, we had to.
Thanks for having me back, guys.
The J.O.
The J.O.
Hey,
J.O.
this is our first ever fantasy football, what'd you call it? Extravaganza?
Yeah, extravaganza. Show.
Show? Well, we're show, but yeah, so we had to get you back, Jeremy.
That's the thing. I live in Fantasyland, guys.
Yeah,
and
that
you've
is
heard my
true.
takes, and you had to have me on for
Had
this.
to have you on for
knew
this,
it.
for sure.
We're getting into your wheelhouse. We're getting into
absolutely.
your strength here. So, yeah, I mean, it's become such an integral part of the NFL, wagering, football, the whole 9 yards.
No doubt.
Fantasy football. Everybody's in at least one league. You talk to some guys that are like in 5, 6, 9 different leagugues.
It's crazy. It can
Yeah.
take over a person's life from,
You're recovering. I saw your coin, talking about.
Yeah, I'm only in 3 leagues this year. Only 3, so that's it.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good for me.
Not bad. Yeah,
That's pretty good for me.
It's pretty easy to get into 3 or more leagues, I will say that.
No doubt.
So we got to talk fantasy football.
Yeah.
And I wanted to start with quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. So let's just start right there. Josh Allen is at the leaderboard in most power rankings, and I think that's very tough to argue with Josh. One of the things about him that I really like, maybe if I was a Buffalo fan, I wouldn't like it as much, but how many yards he gains rushing the football.
No doubt about it.
And he also runs a lot in. So on a fantasy perspective, I love Josh Allen. I would not throw any type of shade at anyone that wants to maybe reach a little bit and go for Josh Allen, although that's usually not my MO. I usually don't get a quarterback in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah, that's definitely where I'm at, Andy. I'm in a 14 league, which is my main league that I'm talking about here. And his overall draft position is usually around 22, and that is way too high for me to draft a quarterback. I always, try and wait till 5 or 6, rounds before I even look at a quarterback. So I have to go down the list a little bit to look for value players because, like you said, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, these guys that really put up the fantasy numbers aren't going to be there in those first 4, 3 to 4 rounds.
Sure. Yeah, they go high. Jeremy, where are you at with Josh?
I'm sure Josh Allen's going to be consistent, right? He's
Yeah.
going to score a whole bunch of points. He did lose some key players on offense
Yeah,
that
no
I
doubt
think you
about
have
that.
to look at. He's going to spread it around maybe a little
Stephon
more.
Diggs.
There's nothing wrong with that. He might rely a little more on James Cook. We'll get to him,
sure.
right? But what's the gap between him and the next guy, like you're saying on the line? And then
Exactly.
even him to quarterback 12. What's the gap?
Yeah.
And that's where I'd say
The thing that
you wait.
I love what you just said there. What is the discrepancy between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson?
Right.
I think there's more upside with Lamar Jackson, Andy. He
yeah.
runs it more. He runs more touchdowns in.
He doesn't run it more. That's not what the stats say.
That's
last
not
2 or
what the
3
stats
years.
say. Yeah, I'm just saying I love Lamar Jackson, and he's going 20 picks below Josh Allen. There's not that big of a discrepancy in my mind. I would rather go that way and get him 2 rounds later if that's what you're going with.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And Lamar is still the number 3 overall quarterback going in most mock drafts right now.
Yeah.
Wedged in between them is Jalen Hurts. And, man, that is a total wild card where that's one of those guys where unless he's there in the 5th or 6th round and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch Jalen Hurts because
you don't know.
Yeah, Kelsey's
you don't
gone.
Know.
You got
the
new
offensive
running
line
backs.
should still be pretty good, obviously with Cam Jurgens.
Should, yeah.
Black shirts. Shout out
Oscar,
there, but no, the line should still be pretty good. But you don't know how that offense is going to run. Are they going to get down to the goal line all the time like they used to? That is a question mark for me as well, Andy. I would much rather, go with a C.J. Stroud or a Patrick Mahomes in a spot where you're going to draft Jalen Hurts.
So the thing I do like about Jalen Hurts is when it comes time, when do you need your players to really perform for you? And that's at the end of the season.
Yeah, no
and
doubt.
He's a guy that the Eagles were starting to fall apart at the end of the season, but not him.
Yeah.
He was still averaging over 22 fantasy points a game. He was still a guy you could count on in your lineup during the playoffs.
Yep.
I don't know. That's a guy that at least is going to be there. And he runs a lot. So many quarterbacks.
And he get a lot of rushing touchdowns.
And
I just don't know if that's going to be a thing anymore.
The tush push will not be available to him like it was last year.
Exactly.
Probably not. And they got that high-flying running back, Saquon Barkley
Yep.
over. But that's one of the things I think takes away from Barkley is that Jalen Hurts likes to keep the ball himself a lot inside the 5-yard line.
It's like being the running back for the Carolina Panthers doing the early teams with Cam. You're not gonna get in the end zone.
Cam was there. I'll tell you a route that I went last year, and I am the reigning, fantasy football champion. The trophies at my house
6-man league.
Yep. I usually didn't take a quarterback too high.
Yeah.
But last year I did because Patrick Mahomes just happened to be there.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I already got a running back or two. I already got a receiver that I like. Okay, fine. And what my draft ended up being was I only drafted winners. I just happened to just draft guys that were on teams that won week in and week out. I was heavy with the Chiefs, heavy in the Ravens.
49ers.
Yep. Deebo Samuel is on my squad. And like what you were alluding to, at the end of the season, when you make the playoffs or you're making that playoff run, those guys were still performing. And other guys were like, I guess I'm hurt. I'm going to sit out. We're out of the race, whatever.
Yeah.
That's not how my guys were playing. It's just that those guys have to perform all the year long in order for you to get in that position.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Andy. I mean, like what I was saying, I don't like to take a quarterback too early. I need to make that base of running backs because it is a lot harder to get good running backs later in the draft. What I was saying is
that's why I like Lamar Jackson so much.
Exactly. If you can get 2 running backs and a wide receiver / tight end before you pick your quarterback, that is what I would like to see in most drafts. I don't like the guy that's picking number 5 that picks Patrick Mahomes. That just doesn't make any sense when you can get a guy like Kirk Cousins or somebody in the 6th or 7th round that's not going to be too far behind him.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins, Joe Burrow.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Guys who are good. That are needed on their teams, that are going to be consistent, and maybe have something to prove.
Yeah.
Gold.
The guy that's really fallen on a lot of draft boards, and the highest he's going in mock drafts is in the 13th round, but he's usually going around the 20th or 19th round. Tua Tagovailoa. I think this guy has a ton of
bad.
Yeah, I think he needs to be going higher.
Yeah.
Isn't he?
He's definitely a sleeper pick, Andy, but fantasy managers have to, just be forgetting what Tua has done so far. Perhaps he hasn't realized his full potential through 4 seasons, but he's injury risk is the only thing
what's holding him back?
I think so.
Is it?
But he scored 300-plus points over 16-game span from Week 8, 2022 to Week 8 of 2023. This guy can just, air the ball out, and he has one of the best players of all time in Tyreek Hill. Fantasy players of all time, obviously. But, I think he's very undervalued. So, if you can just wait till the last round of your draft and get Tua as your starting quarterback, you're going to be sitting pretty well.
A name you brought up earlier, and I want to get your take on this, J.O. We'll talk about C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he's going to run into a sophomore slump in a big way. He might even end up on the brink of my do not draft whatever happens type of guy because there's other quarterbacks I can take that won't have that risk. God, he looked so good last year, and I think they're going to be a good team this year, the Texans. But everybody goes through that sophomore slump. There's a lot of film on him now, and they're not going to creep up on anybody. So, C.J. Stroud's the type of guy that – he's going number 5 overall, 6 overall quarterback-wise.
Yeah.
In my book, that's no way, no go.
I love that he's ranked that high because then someone else is going to take him.
Yeah.
I firmly believe in the sophomore slump. I firmly believe that I don't know how much you can put into preseason games, but you can already see Diggs on the sidelines getting into them, and that's I don't know what
and
you
he's
can put
supposed to be
into
the
that.
third option,
Right?
What do you listen to your third wide receiver for?
Yeah.
Get down the bench a little bit, Diggs, but that's the way Stefan's going to do it.
There's a lot of tape on him. I love him being ranked so high just because I'm not going to take him.
I love that too. Okay. I think that's a great take. Like, exactly. He's supposed to be like 8 picks or 9 picks right behind Lamar Jackson. Like, what are you thinking? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, Andy. Yeah. Can I give you my sleeper quarterback pick for the year?
Well, of course you can. What do we got?
This guy is going average draft position 106, 12th quarterback off the board, Andy.
Okay.
It's the rookie from the Commanders, Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
He's a dual threat quarterback, Andy. Ideal skill set for the modern NFL. They got Cliff Kingsbury coming in here. He's very similar to Kyler Murray when he got there.
Yeah.
You remember how good of a fantasy threat he was. Terry McLaurin, John Dotson, leading receivers, pretty dang good.
Yeah. McLaurin needs to bounce back.
I think he's going to be a top 15 fantasy producer this year.
I was wondering where that retro Commanders jersey and hat were coming from.
Let's go.
You're such a Gators homer. That's unbelievable. But you actually make a little bit of sense there.
Yeah.
Now, I find it odd that there's 2 rookies. Jaden Daniels, the guy you just mentioned, a lot of upside, right?
For sure.
And then also the Chicago Bear, Caleb Williams.
For sure.
They're 12-13 in front of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple rookies in front of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean...
That's more of the hate on Rodgers, right? That's
it's definitely hate on Rodgers.
And that's with a lot of hype on those rookies, but Rodgers, I guess, maybe has something to prove still. We don't know what it's going to be like in New York.
Bad injury last year.
Yep.
At worst, I just think the floor is higher than...
Yeah. You were talking about, Andy, do not draft, do not touch at any certain point. He is number 1 on my list of quarterbacks.
Of not to touch?
Just do not know. You just don't know. I know that, he's been MVP 9 times and won a Super Bowl and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. Okay. I don't know how the Jets are going to be on offense. I don't know about Aaron Rodgers. Don't know about his health. I'm not touching him.
So, he's ranked right in front of your guy, Justin Herbert.
Which is insane. Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert deserves more respect on this. He just look at all the accolades he has had. He will put production down. And they just took away his top 4 options on offense.
Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Gerald Everett, Austin Eckler, all gone.
He's going to be better.
Ooh.
He's going to be better.
Is that the steal?
Quentin Johnston? Oh, no, man.
But you know what?
Steal?
I want to hear this.
It's not because of Quentin Johnson.
Okay.
You know what? And I'm going to bring it up when we talk about wide receivers.
Josh Palmer.
Just a little tease that we like to call it in the business. But he's going to have a great season. I'm excited about him being so low.
Get Herbert in the later rounds. I think that's our takeaway, right?
Say?
Herbert. Oh, Bucks.
Bust.
Oh, Bucks.
Oh my God! Oh, a little bit of. Well, you heard the horn. We're gonna spill over here a little bit, but let's get into that. Why do you think Herbert's a bust?
With everything he just said, I'm thinking the opposite. He lost his 4 best playmakers on offense. He has unprovens: Quentin Johnston, Josh Palmer, Ladd McConkey.
Ladd McConkey. I love that.
He brings in Jim Harbaugh, who is a heavy running back kind of guy. They got the 2 Baltimore Ravens backup running backs, Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. I just don't know if it's going to be a good year for the Chargers. I just don't know. I hope it is for you.
It will be.
You got a rebuttal? You got a quick rebuttal for that?
Just that he's wrong because the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh as head coach we're built for success. We're built for stability and consistency. And honestly, when you think about it, who's got better than us?
Nobody.
No,
that is the saying.
All right, I like that. Well, you heard the horn, so we are up against it, but we still got to take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. World class in every glass. My God. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. You know what that stands for. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm yours, Andy Classen, joined by
JaBron.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder.
You got it.
And we got Jeremy Odem back in the fold. Jeremy, How are we hanging? How are we hanging in there?
You know, the excitement really dropped when you introduced me.
No, I don't think
I
so.
noticed that. It's
No
nothing
way.
personal.
No way.
It's all good.
Well, you got to fluctuate your voice, and I don't know. JaBron's ready for that energy. He is ready for that.
He is bringing the heat. Yeah.
I don't want to scare off our guests. This is only the second segment, maybe the most important segment when we're talking fantasy football.
Yes,
No doubt about it. The segment.
Because we are getting into running backs.
Yeah.
And for a number of years now, I've been in a lot of PPR leagues, and so that's kind of where I'm gearing this for. And last year, I was #1 overall pick because that's how the season before, if you win the consolation bracket,
You get first pick.
then you get first pick. And I
Okay.
won the consolation, so I didn't overthink it. Christian McCaffrey. Just
Good
do
pick.
it.
Easy enough.
And if I
Good
had,
pick.
well, it's pretty easy in hindsight, okay? And if I had that choice again, he's already got that red Q next to his name and all these different formats and
Oh.
the mock drafts. I don't care. I'm taking Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Don't argue with that.
Don't
right?
argue.
Winners only, right? That's your strategy.
yeah.
Yeah, winners only.
If
like
you
winners.
have first pick in your draft and you're not taking CMC, he's either being kept by somebody else or you're the worst fantasy football player
That's
alive.
exactly it.
That is the only thing that you're looking at here. If you're not taking CMC, even if you're in standard scoring, if
Yeah.
you're not taking
take him.
CMC,
Yep.
you are doing something incorrect. This guy scores at least a touchdown a game, most of the time 2.
Even last year when he wouldn't even play half of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He'd still rack up, in standard scoring leagues over 20 points.
Yeah, no doubt
So,
about
like,
it. That's a
there's-
touchdown, 100 yards, and
60 yards receiving.
60 yards receiving.
Is that
And then-
something you think about, though? Because there is guys like him
Yeah.
who maybe are a little injury prone,
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they get heavy workloads, which volume wins in this business.
Volume wins.
But you know he's not going to be there at the end of some games. Does that bother you, though?
It really doesn't with. It does with a lot of players, but not with Christian McCaffrey, just because you know he's going to get his points early.
Okay.
You know that he's
Yeah.
going to get a lot of these guys that you're saying workload, they'll bust off, 30 yards rushing in the first half or whatever. McCaffrey doesn't matter because he's going to have the 30 yards, plus they're going to look at him in the red zone every time that they're down there, no matter what. They do so many plays where he's a part of it that it's absolutely insane. Either receiving out of the backfield or screens or whatever it is, he's part of it. Chris McCaffrey at the San Francisco 49ers is one of the cheat codes of fantasy football.
It is.
I don't know if we've seen anything like it before. Maybe a little bit of LT with San Diego, but I think it's even amplified just because of how many good players are on San Francisco. They can't key on McCaffrey, and they definitely need to. So that's why I'm saying
100%.
he's a cheat code.
Yeah, and then when we get to receivers, we'll talk about Debo, and the same thing will be said. Where okay, you're really going to put a spy and a linebacker on Christian? Well, here we go. We got Debo one-on-one.
We have
Good
another
luck.
running
Yeah.
back.
Whoops! There
Yep.
you go. Well, it's a completely different story here with the number 2 overall back in most consensus mocks right now, and that is Breece Hall from the New York Jets.
The Jets.
A lot of upside, but I don't know. I mean, I was talking about drafting winners.
Yeah.
How much have the Jets won lately? I don't know.
Well, I just had their quarterback on do not draft
Yes, you did.
ever. I mean, obviously, this guy's going to get some points. This guy is high volume, especially if Rodgers sucks. This guy is going to be really good.
Rodgers doesn't suck.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying, or goes down, or whatever you want to say. I'm just saying I don't think Aaron Rodgers will have a very good year. Breece can have a very good year, and that's why you're seeing him at draft spot number 2 overall, probably.
Yeah.
I think just a lot of people, are going to shy away from him because he plays for the New York Jets. I definitely am not going to draft him just because he plays for the Jets. That's me.
So your comments about Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
I firmly believe that I like to have running backs that'll be successful if their quarterback is successful.
Okay.
I look back to Adrian Peterson. His best seasons are when he had a comparable quarterback.
Sure.
When he had, the younger quarterback or maybe the backup quarterback, he wasn't as effective. Why is that? Because they can stack the box.
Yeah.
If Aaron Rodgers is as bad as we both think that he's going to be,
Yeah.
I think that's going to affect Hall.
Oh, yeah. No, it definitely will. They won't be, trying to win games. He's not going to
There'll be 9 guys in the box.
Yeah, and he's not going to be able to score when, or be in the game when they're down 24 points. That's just the way it's going to be. So I don't like him at 2, Andy.
Right.
I would rather have a guy like Jonathan Taylor, or even going down the line a little bit, Derrick Henry. I think he's going to have a great year.
Really? We'll get back to Derrick Henry, but I want to talk about the number 3 overall consensus, Bijan Robinson, because I feel like there's a lot of chatter about, well, there's this, there's that going on, but he's still getting drafted number 3 overall in most leagues.
I think it's a great pick, Andy, especially with the high flying, what everybody thinks they're going to do this year. The Atlanta Falcons bringing in Kirk. That means you're going to load up the long ball, all that kind of stuff. I think he's going to have a very, very good season, and I think he's going to be more of a dual threat running back now with Kirk dumping it off as well. Yeah. So, no, I like Bijan. I would take him definitely over Breece Hall. A lot of people will have a lot of problems with that, but I like Bijan better than Breece.
Well, I feel like, Jeremy, a lot of people are dropping Robinson in their mock drafts, but then it's coming through that he's still going number 3 overall. Yeah. So you're not really preaching, you're not drafting like you're preaching here. I think Robinson deserves to be at that 2-3 spot as well.
Oh, 100%. And you just look at Kirk Cousins, obviously great quarterback, right? And he's going to play. He's going to be able to be drafted at a QB2, but he's a QB1. That's the numbers he's going to put up. Where are those numbers going to? That's going to go to Robinson. It's going to go to Drake London. It's going to go to Kyle Pitts finally. So I love Robinson there. I think he's drafting just fine. I think you're going to come out okay picking him in the first round, early or even late in the first round. Great value there, but great value. No, I love him. This is the year that he will break out.
You think so? He's your breakout guy?
Yeah, I just love the Falcons' offense. They're built to put up some points this year.
Kurt's really going to stabilize that.
He really is.
If it stays healthy, that's going to be a fantastic pick, no doubt. Saquon Barkley is he's really going up the leaderboard, and this is one where I'm thinking, stay off my roster.
Yeah.
He's an older back now. He's on a new team. He's injury prone.
Prone.
What more boxes do I need to check to put him on my do not draft no matter what list? But it doesn't matter. Saquon Barkley is going to go in the top 5. Yeah, he's going to go.
He will.
He definitely will, Andy. And you just look at him. He looks like the All-American running back.
He looks great.
He looks like the best running back in the entire world.
Size of this table.
Exactly. But no, I'm totally with you on. It's a new system, new team, new everything. He was the end-all, be-all for the Giants. I don't know how he's going to react, not being the full-time showboat.
Yep.
After Odell left, it was his team and all that kind of stuff. Yep. I really don't know. Maybe he's got a big slice of humble pie and he's going to fit right into the Eagles' offense. But I just don't know enough about it to draft him this high.
Right.
It's the injury proneness that really gets me to take him that high, because you're going to get one at some point.
Yeah.
Somebody in my league on Saturday is going to take him early in the first round.
Yeah.
And I'm going to shake that guy's hand. I'm going to sit on the floor and I'm going to flatten my calf so it looks huge. And I'm going to be like, this is your guy, buddy.
This is your guy right here.
Yeah. That's...
There's also guys are more injury prone, and I got some air quotes going here. When they're on loser teams like the Giants have been last few years.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Now he's going to a
if
team.
They're playing well, maybe he plays well. Yeah.
And he somehow miraculously doesn't get hurt. Those injuries don't appear as much. So I do think there's something to be said for that. Are there any other running backs that you're just going against the grain on as far as up or down the draft board?
I think one guy for me is getting really disrespected, and I believe that's Isaiah Pacheco for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
He's going at running back 15 right now. I think he should be up that list. Despite missing 3 games last year, that's what we're saying. He's injury prone as well, but I think he is going to be a workhorse for the Kansas City Chiefs this year. Kelsey's not going to be able to take the workload like he always has been. I just like Isaiah Pacheco this year. I think the Chiefs are going to be on the ground a lot more than they have been.
Andy Reid runs the wheels off of his running back, so I like Pacheco as well. Are you on Pacheco?
I like what you're saying about Pacheco.
Yeah.
I think you're going to find value in the 9th round. Running back 28, Nick Chubb.
Okay.
The returning Nick Chubb. A guy who was a first-round pick last year's fantasy draft, who's back.
A resurgence.
I think he's on a good team. I'm calling the Browns a good team. I know you don't hear that often.
Okay.
He's coming off injury. I think he's got a lot to prove,
Yeah.
and he is a talent.
Yeah. No, he's a
so
freak.
Do I take him as my RB1, even my RB2? Probably not. But he's a guy
He's
I'm
down the list
drafting,
guy.
and I'm going to find insane value, and he will be in my starting lineup at some point, and I'm going to win games.
No
So,
doubt. Yeah, I
Okay,
mean, that's
there
a
you go.
flex plug-in right away.
100%.
Right away in the ninth round. I will give you one, Andy. I know we're getting close to time here,
No,
but
we got
one
time.
guy that I do not like that is up the leaderboard here, Andy, is Devon Achane for the Miami Dolphins. This guy is on my do not draft list. His rookie efficiency was, it's just not sustainable, Andy. He's having 7.8 yards per carry and 11 touchdowns and 130 touches. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It's I just believe he only cleared 12 touches only 3 times as a rookie.
Yeah, big plays.
Big play guy. Raheem Mostert's coming back. They drafted a rookie, Jalen Wright. I just believe he's going to be a situational back, and he's just not going to get that type of capacity. I just don't see that figure change anytime soon. He should not be going as the 10th running back in fantasy football. It's too low of a backfield, and he's just too big play dependent.
Right. Another guy that's in that around that 10 spot, it kind of burst onto the scene last year, James Cook for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
I think that he could have a lot of upside now that especially Stephon Diggs is gone.
And calling for the ball.
And
Yep.
Allen has been being told by his coaching staff and his fan base, everybody, stop running the ball as much. We need you on the field.
Yeah.
So for those reasons alone, I think Cook might have a little bit of upside. And if he's there early in that second round, maybe even late in the first round, I might take Cook and feel pretty good about it.
Well, I mean, he performed as the 12th best running back just last season, and now he's going to have more opportunities. I love him.
Yeah, no, and I got to throw this guy in here because I gave him a little flack on the end of the last time. But one guy that I am looking at, Andy, is Gus Edwards for the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay.
The Chargers are going to run the ball, and with J.K. Dobbins coming off an Achilles injury, Edwards has the best bet for 250-plus carries this year. And if they're close to the goal line, this guy can score touchdowns. I love where he's at. He's getting drafted as running back 36 at 116 overall. Wow. I think that's great value for a starting running back for the Los Angeles Chargers.
Go Bolts.
Everywhere he's been, Harbaugh runs the ball.
Bolt up.
There you go. Bolt up. That's the hashtag, folks. You heard the horn. That means we're up against it. But let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure, whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking. They got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen, joined by
JaBron.
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
And I'm going to keep this energy up.
Yeah.
With Jeremy Odem.
Let's go.
Appreciate that.
There we go. Hey, and I mean, you're killing it with the Laugh With Me podcast.
Yeah, Laugh With Me podcast.
Yeah.
We're about ready to launch season 2, September 4th. Find it really anywhere you can get your podcast. But holy cow.
I follow you on Twitter, and like I said, when I walk my dog, I still tune in. I
appreciate that.
That's my
Season
dog
2,
walking.
bigger and better. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to have you guys on
Let's
season
go.
2. So,
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
lock
I'll
that
make
in.
fun of Andy anywhere.
Absolutely.
I can't believe people laugh at me. What's going on? Well, we are going to continue our fantasy football extravaganza, and now we got to talk wide receiver.
Let's do it.
Did you know they had wide receivers had their own show on Netflix last year? I mean, yeah,
We're going to talk about a couple of them right now.
We have to. Yeah, they're just so set on being in the limelight. They had to have their own little special to talk about themselves catching a football.
Exactly.
So, anyway, in my PPR leagues, these guys can accidentally score some big-time points,
No
these
doubt.
volume guys. And what's really curious to me is C.D. Lamb, consensus number one, no matter who you talk to. He's going number one receiver overall. But he has a big red O. He is out. He is not signed right now. And as you mentioned, as we were driving out to the studio, Jerry's being kind of weird with the Stars right now. Why aren't these contracts getting signed?
This should be a team gunning for a Super Bowl right now.
Yeah.
And it just feels like they're in flux and they don't really know who's going to be available to them. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not good for morale, I suppose.
It's creating a controversy where you don't really need that controversy. Just sign CeeDee Lamb and be done with it.
Sign the best wide receiver in the NFL. Just sign him, Jerry.
It's a no-brainer.
So, and I'll piggyback on that. It's a no-brainer for me to take CeeDee Lamb number 1 overall. If he falls far enough in that first round, I am snatching him up.
Yeah, Andy, that's the way that everybody has it. I mean, average draft position is literally right behind Christian McCaffrey in most leagues.
Yeah.
So it's CMC, CeeDee Lamb, just because you get the upside with CMC on the ground. But with CD, he's going to get so many catches, especially in PPR leagues. This guy is a slam dunk first-round pick. He'll be playing for the Cowboys. Dak is going to look his way every play that they are passing the ball.
And what I love about Lamb is that versatility. Yes, he's going to get 7, sometimes 8, 9 catches per game. But he also can break off those long passes. He can get vertical on
and
you,
he gets
too.
big touchdowns.
He's not just that slot guy that Wes Welker used to be a staple of mine. I don't know. He was
Of
just
course.
always on my team. But I'm like, 12 catches, that's 12 points. And, he got 60 yards, so whatever.
Consistency. I take that.
I like that. But with CeeDee Lamb, he can get 12 catches and have over 200 yards.
And 2 touchdowns.
How many times have we seen that?
Yeah, not a lot, Andy. I mean, the top 3 guys here can do that consistently, obviously, when their quarterbacks are playing at a high level. I believe with the top 3 guys that we're talking about, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Dak Prescott is definitely the best quarterback in these top 3. So you have to think CeeDee Lamb is going to have the best year at wide receiver.
Now, if you were going to add another guy to that group, because that's an insane group, I would look at a team that maybe has like a motivated quarterback that is driven coming off an injury, and Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. I mean, Chase is going to have a monster year too, and they're an offense that's going to need him to produce big in order to compete. But I mean, those guys you named, I mean, you're getting consistent production every single week.
And in the ESPN power rankings for wide receivers in a PPR league, Jamar Chase is actually right above Justin Jefferson. And I do think they're taking into account that Joe Burrow has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder.
Yes, he does.
And the not the Browns, but the Bengals as a whole, I feel like they are getting kind of shunned. People are like, we gave them their chance. They went on their Super Bowl run, and now they're the Bengals again. And I think they're just too talented to actually slide that far. And I'm not impressed with Pittsburgh coming out of the AFC North. So I think there's a route here for Cincinnati to have a big year on offense.
Well, I know we're not talking about like teams and kind of where they're going to end up, but the Bengals are going into this like one of those big powerhouse college teams that have a bunch of seniors, and this is it. This is the year to do it. They have that mentality this year, and it's going to produce on the fantasy field too. So I don't know, Jamar Chase, like I was saying with Burrow, Jamar Chase is going to be a guy that's up there. So if there's anybody in that top 5, wide receivers that maybe you have question marks about, I don't think you could be wrong with Chase.
I don't think so either. And a guy that's rounding out most top 5s is that St. Brown, Amon-Ra for Detroit. And I think that's tough to go against because
he gets so much volume. He's on my squad last year, Andy. He gets so much volume. Jared looks his way, and it just helped him with the coming out of Sam Laporta. Because it really takes the defense off of him, and you can't guard this guy with one guy. So Amon-Ra St. Brown is definitely a first-round pick. He's above Justin Jefferson for me. He's above Puka Nacua, A.J. Brown. I believe Amon-Ra St. Brown is the number 4 receiver in the NFL.
And Detroit plays in the NFC North. Chicago Bears have a questionable defense. I'm a Bears fan, but I don't think they're not the monsters of the Midway anymore. So do the Packers. And how many games did Detroit win? Like 42-35. That's their recipe for success. And I don't think anything's changing. So somebody's going to be scoring those touchdowns.
No doubt. He's definitely part of it.
A big part of that.
Yeah.
Got to get your thoughts. Resident Packers fan here.
Yeah.
Puka Nacua had a coming out party. There's going to be a lot of double teams going his way. Is he going to regress or ascend to that number 1 spot?
For the Rams, you mean?
For the Rams,
yes.
Los Angeles Rams.
I think he is the number 1 target, obviously. Cooper Kupp is still going to get his targets, whatever, but Puka Nacua is the number 1 wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams. I just think he's more agile, faster, all that kind of stuff than Cooper Kupp.
Of course he is.
Yeah. So I do believe he's the number 1 option. When it comes down to red zone is where you're going to really, question mark with this guy. Is Cooper Kupp still going to get those red zone looks, and the answer is yes.
100%.
Cooper Kupp is going to score the touchdowns
Sure.
for the Los Angeles Rams. Puka Nacua, volume, probably 10 catches a game. So if you got a PPR league, he's definitely going to be a very good fantasy player for you. Obviously, he'll get touchdowns as well, but Cooper Kupp, I believe, is going to have a huge upside in the red zone this year.
Yeah, and I think Puka's probably overvalued at the 12th pick.
I agree with that.
In that range.
I agree with that.
But he's going to have a really good season because, like you were saying, he's still going to get 12 catches. He's still going to be a great
Stafford's
target.
still going to throw the ball.
But the touchdowns, that's just where he's going to regress a little bit.
And that's why you want that in the first round. You want those touchdowns,
Yes,
right?
I agree.
Exactly.
I agree.
Another guy that I have a huge question mark by, where it's a no-brainer for a lot of people, is Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Arizona Cardinals.
No.
I just hate drafting Cardinals. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Well,
So
especially a rookie Cardinal, you don't know where their quarterback's head is. You don't know where the coaching staff is. You don't know. There's just too many question marks for the entire Arizona Cardinals team. This guy should be a slam dunk, first round pick for any league anywhere. But he's a rookie in an unproven system, unproven quarterback. What else do you need to know? What else do you need to know? What else do you need to know? I would love if this player played on the Carolina Panthers, but he probably wouldn't have much upside there either. I'm just saying, this guy's a freak athlete. Yeah. I'm not taking him in the first round, second round, third round. Not taking this guy.
He's a freak athlete in a situation that's terrible for him. Bookmark this. In 2 seasons, ask me how he's going to do on his new team because he won't be there. They're going to be in a rebuild again. I hope I'm wrong.
I can't believe he hasn't held out yet.
Yes, 100%. 100%
contract.
Take a page out of CDs and just hold out.
Yeah. Another guy that I want to get you guys' read on. Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
He is so talented and he's so good, but he's stuck in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And I just feel like management is like, hey, we're a party, and you know what? We're a hosting city, so it's fun when the Cowboys or whoever comes in and they blow us out or they beat the snot out of us. And Devontae Adams, you're just a part of. Unfortunately, you're a victim of the situation.
He's the host. Yeah, he's the host.
The only upside that he has right now is that Gardner Minshew is going to fling the ball around, Andy. We've seen this time and time again. He is going to do off-the-wall stuff, and that will prove good for Devontae Adams because he's just going to throw the ball up, and most likely he's going to catch it. So Devontae Adams, I think he's going to have an all-right season. I don't imagine him being a top 10 wide receiver in the league this year in fantasy points.
Yeah. He really fluctuates. He's averaging around the 16th receiver overall, all the way up to the 7th.
He's too talented not to take in that round of, wide receivers. It's just, is Garner he's going to be able to give him the ball, and is he going to be the quarterback for this foreseeable future? I have no idea. They could click, and he could be the best wide receiver. Sure. You don't know, but again, big question mark. Obviously, he has the talent. He's probably still going to get 10 catches a game. He's a safe pick.
The Raiders always score with it. 20, 30 points a game. And as a wide receiver, too, I'd love to have Devontae Adams. Yeah. I would love to, but he's going to look great when he's a Jet, later in the season.
Jaguar. whatever.
Are there any guys you're looking at later in the draft? I mean, it's crazy to me that guys like DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel are so low underneath some of these guys like Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. Like I put those guys above.
And there's just so many wide receivers that are so good, Andy. One guy that everybody's going to cut my head off about, but I believe this is a very good value pick, and it is Deontay Johnson for the Carolina Panthers, Andy.
Yeah,
and disaster, it's not for the faint of heart to draft Carolina Panthers players, but the way you can look at it, Andy, is it's the cheapest clear-cut number one wide receiver in the league.
Okay.
He's getting drafted at number 39, the 39th best wide receiver, and that's 86 overall. So I'm just saying we saw Adam Thielen have kind of a dominant stretch of fantasy football last year as the number one wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. The passing game should be more improved. The offensive line is more improved, and Bryce Young should be able to come out of what that was and get this guy the ball. I believe Deontay Johnson is a very good value pick all the way down at 86.
Probably. Do you got a value pick for us? You heard the horn there.
Lad McConkey.
Lad McConkey! Lucky.
Yes. Think about
I knew
it.
it was coming.
Think about it. Keenan Allen no longer on the Chargers, right?
Yeah.
Herbert
Right.
needs his safety. He needs his
does.
safety. Here's a guy with speed that he can cut, over the middle, get his first downs. He's going to need his guy for this. He no longer has that in Eckler as well. He runs a 4.3440, so he's fast, and you could put him in your flex spot and just get
there we
your
go.
reception.
That
So
flex in
PPR, get your receptions there, and I think he's going to do better in the touchdown range than what we're giving him credit for.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like him. Somebody has to score on this team, and it's not going to be Quentin Johnston. So it's
Quentin
gotta be.
Johnston is, if you're thinking about drafting Quentin Johnston, just get out of here right now. But a lot of people are putting Ladd and Josh Palmer up there for breakout.
Yes.
They could be breakout players just because Justin has to get the ball to somebody, and it's going to be one of these two. So I don't hate what he's saying.
And Harbaugh, the focus is on running the ball, but he never forgets about passing.
No doubt.
That is for
Especially
sure.
with a talent like Justin Herbert.
He's an old quarterback.
Yes,
you gotta
he
look out
is.
for that. You heard the horn. That means we're up against it, but let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. We've been enjoying the EOS, a Hefeweizen, one of their core series beers, described as a Bavarian wheat. The unfiltered beer may be a little sweeter than your traditional German Hefeweizen, but it's highlighted with notes of vanilla and nutmeg. Nebraska Brewing Company, world class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL. And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen, joined by
JaBron.
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it.
Hey, and we got Jeremy Odem back. Jeremy, how we doing?
Oh, we're doing fantastic.
Yes, we
talking ball.
Talking ball.
I was just on a show the other day, and how you doing? I'm like, there's a bite to the air. There's a crispness to that morning air. It's football. Football is here. High school is going through the 2 days.
Yep.
Fall camp has started. Huskers are going to win 10 games, obviously.
Why not 12?
Maybe 12. That's the first
why
one.
not?
Playoff.
Why not?
Playoff.
Okay. But this is our fantasy football extravaganza.
Yeah.
And we got to get to the tight ends.
The TEs.
This is one of those sneaky positions that might make or break your squad, because there is a huge discrepancy between, I would say, the top 2 and 3 versus the rest of the field.
Yeah.
Where we're just talking about wide receivers. Man, you can get a lot of really good receivers in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th round.
No doubt. There's so many of them.
That's not the case unless you luck out and nail a flyer with tight ends. You got your cream of the crop, and then you got everybody else. So this is one of those. This is one of those positions where I reach. I reach for tight ends, and I catch a lot of flack for it. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, the whole thing with tight ends, Andy, is that you get 3 or 4 that get volume. Mm-hmm. Get catches, get a lot of yards, and that's it. That's it. Yeah. And then you got the mid ones that are, probably going to average about 50 to 60 yards, and that's all you get. And then you got the touchdown dependent tight end. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people end up doing is after they see the top guys, they're waiting, round 10, 11, 12 to get a touchdown dependent tight end. And all you're going to do is get,
Hunter Henry.
Exactly.
You're stuck with Hunter
One
Henry.
catch for 11 yards, or you're going to get 2 catches, 22 yards, and a touchdown. He's a touchdown dependent fantasy player, and that's what it is. But when is the best position to draft Sam Laporta or Travis Kelce? That is the question.
Is it the first round, Jeremy?
It's not the first round.
Ooh,
okay. Not at all. It's interesting. There's only going to be 2 or 3 of you guys in a league doing this.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because, like you were saying, the gap is just so drastic.
Gap's huge.
Only 1 or 2 people can have a Rob Gronkowski or Aaron Hernandez, rest in peace, that can make a change and in your lineup. But can you get him? Should you reach for him? You won a championship with Travis Kelce last year,
Yes,
so
I did.
it can win. And I've done the same with Gronkowski before, so it can make a difference in your lineup.
Yeah.
When they treat those guys like receivers and they get the volume like receivers and the touchdowns, Laporta, Kelce, for me, it
Mark
makes
Andrews,
Mark Andrews. It makes sense to get these guys late in the first round, early in the second round, and if you don't get them, I don't worry about it then. And then I'm on track with you guys.
Yeah.
I can wait till the 7th, 8th, 9th round,
Yeah.
and just not worry about it because what's the difference between George Kittle, Evan Ingram, Fairmouth out
There's
of
nothing.
Pittsburgh? It's all the same. It's 4 catches, maybe 40 yards. If you're lucky, a touchdown.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Andy. I do have a couple guys that I think are sleepers to get into that volume position,
Well,
Andy.
let's get into that.
And my first one, it has to be Kyle Pitts, who is the tight end 7 right now, overall 61st player drafted in all fantasy football leagues right now. I just believe the upkick with Kirk is going to be evident right away with this player, Kyle Pitts.
It has to be.
Yeah, I just believe in their just the way the Falcons are based right now, with not a breakout player, so to speak. You know, Bijan is close, I guess. Drake London is close, but Kyle Pitts could really just be the end-all, be-all star for the Atlanta Falcons.
I mean, he's 2 years running where we thought he was going to be that guy.
Exactly.
But he finally has not only the quarterback, but a coaching strategy that will play to his favor. I mean, Kyle Pitts, this is the time. It's now or never, really.
It's never been the talent for Pitts.
Yes.
It's always, and he proved that his rookie season, but I just think it's just the injuries and the system has always been against him. So I believe this could be a huge year for Kyle Pitts, and it could be a huge upkick for somebody, getting him all the way down at pick 61 or wherever he's at.
Oh, he's buried right now. You know, they're Dalton Kincaid from Buffalo.
Yeah,
Trey
McBride.
Arizona
George
Cardinal. And no thanks.
David Njoku.
Yeah, I'd rather go for Pitts on this one. But he is one of those guys where on all these talk shows, he's 50-50. Half the guys are like, no way, wouldn't touch him. Other guys are like, no, this is the year.
Right. But it makes sense. 2 years running. I mean,
third time's a charm. No.
And he's got Cousins.
It has everything to do with me that it's Kirk Cousins, and this could be his end-all, be-all. All-star pass catcher for him.
This might be the 4th or 5th year where this is the year. What about Cole Kmet for the Chicago Bears?
Yeah.
Like, it was supposed to be his breakout year 2 years ago, then maybe last year. The year before that was definitely his breakout year.
Yeah.
It just hasn't happened.
No, he's been one of those touchdown-dependent tight ends like we've been talking about, Andy. But no, this guy could have an uptick with a rookie quarterback coming in that needs to offload some passes when he can't find DJ Moore or Keenan Allen down the field.
Yeah.
This could be a huge year for Cole Kmet. You don't know. He's
going like 90th.
No, that's what you're gonna get touchdown dependent value on this guy. He's the 14th, tight end in the league right now, and 126 overall. But yeah, this could be a guy that you need to target later in drafts, just because it could turn week 3 or 4, and this guy's leading the league in touchdowns because Caleb Williams likes him in the red zone.
He's one of like the 5 guys I'm looking at to get late, like you're saying, late in the draft.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to work week to week and look at flyers and see, all right, who maybe is going to get opportunities this week because of XYZ. That's generally how I do tight end, unless I go early and I get one of the studs and I make an investment, because that's an investment. But Kmet, I mean, shoot, he's got all the opportunities ahead of him.
He's right in front of another one of these names that people put a lot of focus on, and I kind of like him, Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Is he gonna?
Your league has to be set up for him, though, I believe.
What do you mean, like a PPR league? What are you talking about?
Yeah, kind of. No. Just I don't know. It's so hard because they'll play him like a whole game sometimes, and then not give him a carry or a pass or a reception, in an entire game. But no, I'm saying that some leagues are set up that you're not getting those passing yards, you're not getting all that kind of stuff. It's just Taysom Hill. He can be a Swiss Army knife. Obviously, he can get touchdowns, but the volume's not there for sure.
I love the Swiss Army knife. He's not quite a unicorn.
No.
But he's, Swiss Army knife. That makes sense. You know who I like? And I hate that I like him this year. TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not only do I dislike where he went to college, the Iowa
I hate where he went to college.
I also dislike that his quarterback is now out for the season, J.J. McCarthy, but that makes me like the tight end. I think that plays into the favor of a good tight end.
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold needs a guy that he can find when his top 2 receiver options are covered and he can't read the field right. Like, to me...
Yeah.
that plays into a guy who with talents in his wheelhouse. So I kind of like TJ Hawkinson.
No, TJ Hawkinson is definitely an undervalued pick right now, and I think he's going to keep going down, obviously.
For sure.
But, is there a huge drop-off from J.J. McCarthy to, Sam Darnold? We don't know that because we haven't seen J.J. McCarthy. Yep. But, no, I like what you're talking. Outlet a little bit with Sam Darnold, and I'm going to keep with the NFC North.
Real quick. Keep that thought, but quick. T.J. Hawkinson, 4 or 5 days ago, Jeremy Fowler reported from ESPN.com that he's been put on the PUP list.
Oh.
And he probably will not be ready for week 1, could miss anywhere from 3 to 7 regular season games. So he might just
take the whole year off.
So you might be able to get him in even later rounds.
Just good.
And I
put him on the IR slot and call it good.
And this is crazy. Anywhere from 3 to 7 weeks, anywhere from, it could be ready to go in week 3, or it could be over half the season.
And it could come out next, week that he doesn't want to play at all this year because the Vikings are going to tank.
Figures it was a Hawkeye.
Yeah,
it just figures.
There we go.
Sending the year off.
Yeah, but no, I want to stick in the NFC North there, Andy. And this is one of my guys. This is one of my deep sleepers. It's not a deep sleeper, but Luke Musgrave for the Green Bay Packers. I believe that the Packers saw enough of him and kept him, as the status quo there. Tucker Kraft is his only competition in offense whose arrow's pointing up. Everything, at the end of the season said Jordan Love is the guy. He's going to be the guy for the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. I think this could be a sneaky play here where he's borderline top 10 in fantasy for tight ends. So just look for Luke Musgrave in those later rounds. He could be one of those guys that pushes to a little bit of volume other than just touchdown dependent.
Sticking on, I like all that, what you said there. A guy that's slipping on a lot of boards, and he's totally an in-betweener. I don't know what to make of this.
Yeah.
George Kittle.
Yeah.
Why is he slipping?
They just have – there's not enough ball to go around in San Francisco. First through third down is already cut and dry. They'll give him a game, Andy, where they'll give him 2 to 3 touchdowns in 80 yards. Most of the time, he's getting cut out of that. It's just if they get a matchup that they love Kittle against, they'll go nuts on it. But they got CMC, Debo, Ayuk, Juszczyk, all these guys that are just going to get in the end zone. And like we're talking about tight ends, a lot of it is touchdown dependent, and George does not score a lot of them.
He's too good of a blocker.
That's the thing is this game, fantasy football, is about opportunity and it's about volume.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And he has so many options ahead of him that are so freaking talented.
Yeah.
Somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you've got George Kittle in your lineup, and holy cow, he's making a big difference.
Yeah, no doubt.
You never know, but that's why he's not at the tippy top.
Yeah.
I just think his draft position is too high for the volume that you're going to get from George Kittle. Obviously, there are going to be games where he's going to look the best, and he's going to get 2 touchdowns, but he's going to have like 35 yards, and, Travis Kelce's going to be sitting there with 75 yards and 2 touchdowns.
So there you go, Hawkeye fans. Take your flowers. We came back around, and we spoke a little positive.
Sam Laporta is the number 1 ranked tight end in the world. Iowa has their flowers.
There you go. Well, that's going to about do it for us this week. Jeremy, thank you for joining us.
Oh, I loved it. Thank you for having me.
People can find you on X. It's not Twitter anymore. It's X.
X.
J.O. from Nebraska.
Absolutely.
All right. And the Laugh With Me podcast.
Yes.
Still climbing the charts, still killing it?
September 4th, Season 2.
Season 2.
All right. Well, be sure to follow us on ESPN Tri-City Radio and their Facebook page. And then on X, what's our WTL podcast _?
I believe that's it.
Yeah, okay.
I believe that's it.
All right, and then you can also receive our daily free picks over on TikTok. You're holding down the old
WTL
TikTok.
Sports Betting at TikTok. Always putting out fun videos on there.
And if you haven't already, check us out on YouTube for daily picks, feature-length videos, and some short videos. We like to have fun over there.
For sure.
For JaBron, the Parlay Pounder, I'm Andy Classen. Thank you for listening. This has been WTL.